thank you for joining. So tonight we are going to be covering the case of the Conjuring, the allegations, the speculation, again, the demon side of it, of what's been going on. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it spirit? Is it good spirit? Is it bad spirit? Is it spirit that's been trapped? I'm going to give you my full take on it. If you've not watched the film already, do not panic, because we're going to, again, add some of the cases in. I've picked a few cases in particular to look in at, show a little bit of evidence, and again, give my take on it as well. I do advise you all to burn white sage. This type of energy, it doesn't matter where you are, it depends on your mindset, alright? It favours the weak. Poltergeist feed off fear, and it's something not to be forgot about. What I do feel we're going to get out this video as well is the reasons not to mess with spirit and mess with things that you don't know what they are. Let's do it, alright? So first things first, let's give you a little bit of history. The farmhouse is situated in the Rhode Island suburbs, so you can imagine how idyllic that is for a family with 5 children that are bringing their children up. You can just imagine. The farmhouse itself was a 14-bedroom with over 200 acres. And again, it was always within the same family for nearly 8 generations. A little bit about the house. It was built in 1736. It originally had a few names. It was called the Richardson and Dexter House, and then it was called the Old Brook Farm. One family had seen out 8 generations in that home before it was then sold in 1971 to the PERRONS family. In January 1971, Roger and Carolyn PERRONS purchased the Old Arnold Estate, as it was known at that point, with their 5 daughters, Nancy, Andrea, April, Christine and Cindy. It's an idyllic setting, what could possibly go wrong? When they first moved in, it seemed that everything was fine. Andrea had her own room, she was 13. Nancy and Christine shared, and Cindy and April shared the youngest in their room as well. Again, at first the kids settled in brilliant. It was a 14-bedroom house, 200 acres, with 7 people on it. So there was a lot of fun to be had at the beginning, a lot of curiosity. However, when Roger and Carolyn went to pick up the keys for the farmhouse, the previous owner did say to them, leave the lights on at night. Now, I don't know about you, I'm sure I'd have asked further questions on that. So obviously, whatever had been going on in the house, the previous owners knew. It is said that Roger and Carolyn felt that the comment was very cold and they couldn't get out of their head after it. It's something that stuck with them. Now, just on the psychic thing, we are going to come to that anyway a little bit later on in the video, but that tells me that your instincts, your safety instincts in yourselves already up at that point. So always know, even when you're watching this video, if you get that funny feeling in that kind of, you have to trust your gut around it. And I think in that instance, that's exactly what was going on. I do feel that spirit were warning. Now, the house being built in 1736, you can imagine the creaking, the slamming, but there was mysterious instances, there was unexplained, but also they could hear whispering at times as well. Now, my experience as a psychic and a psychic medium, good spirit will give you little signs, they'll come to you through music, they'll maybe give you the odd little sign in your home, whether it be a white feather. When you're hearing whispering and things are starting to move about, that's not nice spirit, that's a poltergeist. And it's something that should really never ever be messed with. It's like anything, you starve it of oxygen, you starve it of energy, it gets less and less. And this is where, at the end of this video, we'll talk about the expectation on that house in particular, to why energy can be created. Things would just disappear in the house, and there was an incident where it was alleged that a broom was moving about on its own. Again, I've just said it in the previous video. When things like that are happening, it's a different ballgame altogether. It's definitely not spirit. That is more demonic, which we are going to come on to through the video anyway. But aye, the broom moved. I would have been out at that point, psychic or not psychic. Carolyn also heard scraping noises on the kettle, and there was no one in the kitchen. Again, poltergeist activity. That tells me that poltergeist in particular does not feel acknowledged, and they're trying to catch your attention. So you'll find with any sort of spirit, especially not so good spirit, it's like poking the bear. I'm here. The minute you say I acknowledge you, it kind of diminishes the energy a little bit. But if it's demonic, then that'll not change it. If anything, you're inviting it in. Oh. She would also find piles of dirt everywhere within the kitchen after it had all been cleaned. A few hours later, she would go back and there would just be this pile of dirt. Again, within a kind of spirit sense, they're building up energy, and because she's believing it more, it's becoming Andrea, the oldest, has her own experiences around this. But one of the biggest things was mostly every night, her siblings coming into her room, absolutely terrified, crying, obviously saying what they'd seen or what they'd heard, or just the whole unknown of the situation, especially with Nancy, the younger sibling. Cindy, the second youngest, said that things were being misplaced in her room. They were being moved from one place to another, but also things were being gathered and put under her bed as well. So again, from the word go, for this family's moved in, they've been opened up to this kind of demonic energy, spirit energy, or whatever it is that's going on in that house. Cindy did ask her sisters, she blamed them for moving the toys, moving the things under the bed. But the funny thing about this is, these incidents were not discussed till after everything else happened. So although all this was happening, the family, the daughters, the mum and dad, everyone was actually unaware to how active this place was at this point, how many people were being affected in the house without actually realising. And that's what I mean by again, whether you believe or disbelieve, it's your choice whether you believe spirit's doing it or whether you think it's coincidence. Now, it is true that children are much, much more receptive to spirit, but a lot of people were relieved to know on a demonic side of things, it's not necessarily the case. But if you're introducing or inviting and speaking that out around children, then again, that is why it can come in, because they've got innocent minds, and that's why they're so open to spirit, because they don't know what to believe at that point in life, so it's so much easier to see. A lot of people who are open-minded believe in spirit, and they feel that they can either feel it or they can see it. People who are closed-minded that don't believe in it will probably say they've never had an experience around spirit, but it's not necessarily that they've not. They've chose not to believe it's either spirit that's done it, whether it be good, whether it be bad. Cindy had also said to April that she could hear constant whispers in their room, and it was 7 dead soldiers are in the walls. 7 dead soldiers are in the walls. I will get put on the video a little bit later. I do have a theory on that. I feel it is connected in some way or another. If you're still watching this video at this point, my plan at the end of this video is to put the spirit box on, but I need us all to know the story so that then you can understand what's going to come through in the spirit box, and if we can relate and if we can tie it all in. But the 7 dead soldiers is a big thing, and I feel it's a massive thing. I think it's safe to say by this point the full PERRONS family knew that their house was very, very active with spirit. The children did believe, as much as there was some bad spirit there, that there was good spirit there as well. But that's where it gets complicated. How are we meant to know what's good spirit and how are we meant to know what's bad spirit? The children even befriended one ghost and called him Man. Cindy had said that when they moved into the house for the first 2 months, there would be a lady that came into her room every night and kissed her forehead, and she thought it was her mum. Again, these incidents weren't spoke about at the time, too much later on for them to realise that in actual fact it wasn't her mum. Or in this case, let's just say it's a poltergeist groom in the family, because that's exactly what Cindy said, that she could smell flowers and fruit from the spirit when they were kissing her forehead. But Carolyn wore ivory soap, which is obviously completely different, is another reason to why then she knew it wasn't her mum either. This is what I will say around spirit. If you smell something and it takes you back to a time from someone in spirit, that's usually a very, very good sign. In this incident, it's not a good sign because they are strong enough and close enough to that person to give them that, alright? And usually that's a soul connection. At 5:15 one morning, it was reported that the beds were levitating and there was a rotten smell of dead flesh coming through the house when this incident was taking place. Again, smells, poltergeist. Also, when this was going on, there was doors slamming, things were moving about the house. By the sounds of it, this was spirit heightening and taking the power that they needed from fear, energy, all these different things. In August 1977, Carolyn reported that there was an apparition at the bottom of her bed. It was an old lady, she had a crooked neck, and she was saying, get out, I will drive you out with death and gloom. Now, Carolyn had reported this at this point. Again, they moved in 1971, so this is again 6 years later. So those 5 girls have endured this for 6 years at this point, alongside their 2 parents, Roger and Carolyn. Things were starting to get that bad that Carolyn started to read up on the history of the Old Arnold Estate, which obviously would then shower further light into certain things that were happening. Remember what I said earlier about the 8 generations? Carolyn found with her research that there had been a family there with 8 generations, and a lot of them had died either through murder, suicide, or unexplained death within the family. Also, it was discovered there was drownings in a nearby creek. Now, if you remember the film The Nun, it is based on the back of that film as well, and all the history around the Conjuring. So again, has anybody watched The Nun yet? Can you make sense of this? When Carolyn was doing her homework, she had the local authorities look at it, and they came back to tell her the property had hosted 2 suicide hangings, a suicide by poison, rape and murder of Prudence Arnold by a farmhand, and 2 drownings and 4 men who froze to death. Now, there is a lot of speculation around the rape and the murder of Prudence Arnold, because it actually shows on her death certificate that it happened in Massachusetts. I can't even say it. But it didn't happen on the farm. Now, apparently, the spirit responsible for all this demonic activity is BATHSHEEBA Sherman. She was a lady that lived in the property within the 8 generations of the Richardson family. She's apparently responsible for the glass shattering and launching things across the room. I believe that this spirit really was furious around Carolyn. Parents. She was one of the first to see a lot of the activity, to feel it, and again to experience it on a kind of physical level as well. One night, Carolyn was sitting in her living room and she felt a stabbing pain on her leg, and when she looked down, there was blood trickling out her calf, and it looked like she had been injected with a big needle. But she said she'd felt this as it was happening. Andrea had said that the lady in spirit that was around about the house was saying she was the mistress of the house, and the competition, because of Carolyn, was making the energy even worse. From a psychic's point of view, that could be really, really spot on and correct. And especially if that lady, Carolyn, was very scared and was showing that side of fear, that poltergeist, aka BATHSHEEBA, or whoever that may be, that's demonic within that house, was feeding off Carolyn's energy. My theory is a psychic, that energy alone is enough to create a monster. So if you think he's 7 people in the house with that exact same point, we're having physical injuries, physical damage, things are getting thrown across the room. Psychic vibe again, the poltergeist is not lacking energy by any means whatsoever. This is not one spirit, this is energy that's built into bricks and mortar, built into land. We'll come on to it at the end to why I'm saying that. But a lot of people think when they buy a new house that it's not going to be haunted. You're sorely, sorely wrong. When the ground is disrupted or disturbed in any way whatsoever, it can then bring all that old energy up. So again, it could be something that's happening within that house. I do feel the 8 generations within that house was haunted as well. But because it was family members and they could relate to certain signs, it probably wasn't classed as being demonic at that point, but just very, very active. My belief, the poltergeist wanted Carolyn to believe that she was going insane and going mad. Again, it's the first thing you give up in your mind. If you think you're going mad, you start to, again, go on to someone else for advice or reassurance. In a case like that, you're just giving spirit your mind. Always remember this, especially when you're being possessed and things like that. If it's ever happened to you, I doubt very much it has. It's not happened to me. But you usually find it's the weak-minded, the very, very weak-minded. It's very hard for spirit to get into your mind. We should know that on a day-to-day basis, because overall, not many are affected by hauntings. But the weaker your mind, the worse the haunting. After's parents had also reported that BATHSHEEBA the ghost had been loving and caring to him, innuendos, the energy was completely different around him to his wife and the children. Makes you wonder why. BATHSHEEBA was born in 1812. She married a local man, Judson Sherman, in 1844. Now, they were a fairly wealthy family. He was out on the land. She was at home with their son, Herbert. Now, it was speculated that they had 3 other children, but the way the census worked is there wasn't when the first census went out, and when they done the next census the children's names were not on it. It was an unofficial document that showed that they also had a daughter, Julia, in 1845, Edward in 1847, and George in 1853, and Herbert was born in 1849. But on the files it was registered as one boy, Herbert. The local people in BATHSHEEBA's town were starting to think that she was a witch and she was practicing black magic and all these different things. And just to even add to that, she had a baby in her care that then died under suspicious circumstances. When the baby went for an autopsy, there was a needle prick found at the back of the baby's skull that had killed the baby, which then led more locals to believe that witchcraft or some sort of demonic was involved. Locals believed because the baby had a needle injected into the back of his skull that it was some sort of satanic ritual. Locals spoke, you know what it's like, gossip mongering, to the point that the courts then got involved. She was then sent to trial, and it was not proven as such that she had nothing to do with it. So again, she was released. May 25th, 1885, BATHSHEEBA passed away 4 years after her husband. The locals were still convinced that she was a witch. They also speculated that when she passed, her body turned to stone, but it was also alleged that the doctors who had dealt with her at the time said that she was paralysed and it was in a scary state. They didn't abbreviate why or get into detail why. I wonder why though. Now, BATHSHEEBA didn't live on the Old Arnold Estate. She lived on a farm close by, quite likely within the 200 acres, which again is believed that that whole land is demonic in one way or another. A lot of people believe that it wasn't BATHSHEEBA that was doing the poltergeist activity. Some people believe it was Mrs. John Arnold, because she had committed suicide in the barn in the 1800s. Doing my own homework on Mrs. John Arnold, there is only one that stands out, and she lived a mile away from the Old Arnold Estate, but she did pass in her own home. Again, it still is on the estate, it's saying it's a mile off, but again, the 200 acres and things, but nothing proven either. I'll tell you what I think. Now, if you remember in the film, Ed and Lorraine Warren were approached by the PERRONS. Now, in real life, that wasn't the case. It was a friend of the PERRONS family that contacted the Warrens, and just by luck, when they were contacted, they were in Connecticut at the point, and that's the reason that they came to start investigating. Now, this is where it gets interesting, this is where it gets scary. The footage from now on in could be a little bit disturbing. Just to remind you, 15-20 minutes into this video now, get the sage burning, imagine a white light, and imagine good thoughts round about you, and just say before you watch any from this part on that you're protected, you're safe. I'm sending you all loads and loads of love. Some of you will probably be laughing at this right now, but I wait at 3:07 in the morning, we'll see if you're laughing. The Warrens visited the Old Arnold Estate on many occasions over the 10 years that the parents lived there. Ed and Lorraine did say that they were convinced it was BATHSHEEBA that was haunting the family, and it was all because BATHSHEEBA had apparently, again, we have no evidence on this, had killed her daughter and sacrificed her daughter for satanic rituals and things like that as well. Now, this is what Ed and Lorraine had been saying to the PERRONS family. Cindy and Nancy were playing hide and clap. Cindy decided to go and hide in the woodshed, and she took herself into a little kind of wood box and she put the lid over. When she went dark, she tried to get the lid off, she couldn't get it. She was screaming for 20 minutes till eventually Nancy found her and easily lifted the lid, no problem. Now, again, Ed and Lorraine had also said that they felt that was Bathsheba because of the female energy and because of the things that were going on round about that. Ed and Lorraine also said that they felt that Bathsheba had killed her child because one, she was possessed, but two, it was satanic rituals. When there's poltergeist activity or dark energy, you can protect yourself. But again, if you believe something is haunted, you're still inviting that in unconsciously. Always know this, if a poltergeist or any sort of bad spirit attaches itself to you, it will attach itself to the back of your neck. You will feel stiff here. I'm sure you're all sitting right now doing that, but yep, get a wee bit of sage in there as well. Again, we talk about protection, but on the other side of it, you need to know what you're protecting yourself from. Otherwise, you could be inviting it in unconsciously without realising. Think it this way, poltergeists are sheep, are wolves in sheep's clothing, even. Ed and Lorraine held a seance, which then, rather than Bathsheba go through to Lorraine, it then went to Carolyn, which Andrea said that she witnessed and that her mother spoke a language out of this world in a voice that was not her own. I'm going to pop some footage up, so again, just a little bit of a trigger warning around this. Exorcisms, seances, again, I'm going to speak about it all at the end and what my take on it is. Again, building of energy.
That's me.
About to go and start doing the spirit box and the EMF meter. Thank you for sticking with us for this long. What I will say on it that I did agree with Lorraine, there's going to be a next photo up. I'm asking you in advance, don't look at the doll's eyes, alright? But she did say in a clip that I'd seen recently that there was a doll in the house and that it was then in their place where they keep all the demonic things. I do find it a bit strange, everything they deal with is demonic. Anyway, we'll come on to that. But please don't look into the doll's eyes because I do agree with Lorraine on this one. It can bring in, again, bad things, bad energy. We believe in that doll that it's got bad energy, so that's another thing as well. But you might have seen this doll before. So for the last part of our video, I'm going to use the spirit box. I'm going to use the EMF meter. I'm also going to use a mirror as well. What I'm going to do at the first part of it is, you guys are on your own from this part on. I'm going to set you up in my room with the mirror. I'm going to leave you there for 5 minutes. We'll put that footage on, but then I'm going to come in and do the spirit box to see if we can get in and out of it. And again, just to build up the energy. Are you brave enough to stay for the next part? That's the question. Right, guys, we are here. I've got one light on at this side. I'm not going to put two on just now. I might actually just turn them all off. Okay, so I've just switched this on. Spirit, if you're with us, can you give us a wee sign that you're here? Lovely. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to turn this off. Let's see. There we go. Spirit, can you give us a sign if you're here? So I'm going to leave you guys for about 5 minutes and then we'll come back. I'm wishing you luck. I am wishing you luck. start with the spirit box. Obviously I can't watch this video back yet, but I will shortly. Hey guys, so I've came back up the stairs. My throat and my cough's unreal. Spirit, are you here with us? I feel very breathless. Spirit, I'm going to use the spirit box. Can you tell me who you are or give us a sign if you're here? Can you tell me your name? Why will you not tell me your name? Are you giving me a sign, Spirit, through the EMF that you're here? Oh wow. You know I'm not here to harm you. Are you here to harm me? Right, green light, that's alright, it's a start, guys. Oh, I feel something. Spirit, did you just touch me there? Oh, here we go. Is BATHSHEEBA here with me? Yeah. What is it you want? Guys, please comment below and subscribe if you can make out what the spirit box is saying. BATHSHEEBA, did you kill your children? Cut? Who did you cut? Prudence? Wow. Right, so Prudence was at the start of the video. That turned out that they weren't actually in the farm on the night that they were killed. Did you kill Prudence? Yes. Why did you kill her? Can you give me a sign that you're here? Why did you haunt the Perron family? Did you sacrifice your child for Satan? Why are there so much bad luck on that land? can you give me your name? Something at my left. Use the EMF meter if you're trying to scare me right now. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry for the language, sorry for the language. Guys, I'm going to give you what I get. I feel there is a lady. What I want to say is, when this is moving, she's controlling what she wants when she wants. I want to say that I need to go and look back on it, but the Prudence case is a connection and round about this. The fact a name like that's came through in the spirit box. What I do feel with this lady is that originally she was not demonic. I feel that she was practicing in some sort of black magic. Again, open-mindedness, all these different things. It's introduced something else. She tells me it's the land. And there's a man. Can you see this? A man in the 7 soldiers. I need to put it out. I need to get this done. The 7 soldiers, I believe they are in the walls of the basement. There is also a room in the house, the library, and it's the same book that comes out. I'm going to put a photo up of that after this so that you guys can see it as well. Spirit, oh, there we go. Spirit, do you have anything to tell us about this case or anything that nobody else knows yet? There's more children. Where are the other children? Spirit, if I do transfiguration, will you use my face to show who you are? Sure. Okay. Don't need to ask me twice. Right, let's do it, Spirit. Guys, I just hope that you can see my face, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and I'm going to keep the spirit box on. That's why my glasses are off. Spirit, use me to transfigure. Oh my god, I just seen it myself. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, I don't know what to do this. Right, I'm doing it. I can't keep my eyes open. Oh, right, okay. What again? Somebody with a long chin. Oh my god, that's Carol. Oh, who I seen is Carolyn PERRONS. Guys, I'm just going to do this for another minute. I am so uneasy, it's not even funny. This is when it's better on live because I feel those guys are with me. Let's do it. Last time, Spirit, do you have anything to tell us? Stairs. Stairs. Whose stairs? Oh wow. Oh, spirit box is conked out. Can you give me the name of who's here? Tara. Who's Tara or Terry? Spirit, do you have any messages for us? Oh my god. Give me your name. Show yourself in the mirror. Why are you laughing? What's handy? What's handy? Spirit, we're going to leave you in peace. Do you have anything else to say? I'm asking you to leave and not attach yourself, and don't attach yourself to anyone who's on this video. Can we agree on that? You're tricked. Who's tricked? The children. Spirit, who are you going to haunt? That's a question. Oh my god. Right, I get it. Stairs. Stairs. I get it. Spirit, I acknowledge you. I hear you. I know you're here. Right, guys, I'm going to... I do not feel good. Right, okay, I'm going to put the light on. Sooner the better, I would say. Guys, I'm here. I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. I'm going to sum up the video and I'm going to pop another few things in the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember, subscribe and like. Right, to sum up the video, I got a bit of a fright there. That's the reality. My sum up of the Conjuring is that I feel there's 2 lady spirits and a man spirit connected around that. I want to say it does come from the 8th generations of that family, but I feel it's the 4th and the 5th that are connected round about it. I feel with the Warrens, looking at some of their stuff, a lot of things were demonic, which my theory on that is every case they touched was then demonic. It's a bit generic. I do believe that the Warrens made the spirit worse when they were doing the exorcism and the seances and things like that. I don't think at that point they were overly experienced enough to be doing it, which probably made it a bit more chaotic. It is logged that the house was bought in 1985 and the lady Norma said that she agreed that it was not haunted in any means whatsoever, but she did sell that property in 2019 and a man, Corey, and his wife bought it, which then they decided that it is haunted. They had their own experiences within the house as well. My theory, anywhere's haunted if you want it to be haunted, but with demonic spirit, yes, there is a little bit of witchcraft in there, black magic, all these different things, but it is the power of the mind. When you feed something so much energy, those children went into that house knowing that it was, again, quite haunted in some way or another. There were stories attached to it. The locals knew long before then, so I can imagine when that family moved in, it was something that was spoke about as well. When you feed something so much energy, it can become bigger. I do believe that everything that happened in that house between 1971 and the 1980s is true. I do believe that Carolyn was possessed, but I do believe that the Warrens made it worse by introducing it into their lives and starting a seance and inviting that in. At this point, I will give you I do believe that the farmhouse in Rhode Island is very much haunted by poltergeist. I don't feel demonic spirit because all the actions of the unexplained deaths, suicides, they were all, again, unexplained, but I would say that was down with a weak mind as well. We don't have any sort of official documents to see what actually happened to these people. It could be postnatal depression, it could be psychosis. So again, we need to be as open-minded as possible. But as a psychic, it is not somewhere I would ever investigate. I don't think I would ever use the spirit box with it again. Please feel free to go and look even further into this story and get your own opinion. But can you please comment, like and subscribe? I can't thank you enough for sticking all through this and watching. Remember to burn your sage at the end of this video. Just clear your energy. Imagine a white light from the top to the bottom. It will project out the way. I hope you all sleep well tonight. And just remember, at 3:07 in the morning, if you wake up abruptly...